IG Live. Welcome back. It's your girl, Turning Point 27. Yes, this is the Grapevine Talk Show. We are back on for another hot topic, y'all. This hot topic is going to be a really good one. Something that we all could relate to, and I'm pretty sure that you could relate to this hot topic. So our hot topic today is going to be on how toxic relationships affect someone's life. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and get into it a little bit. So here is the lovely Andre Lewinson, which he's on right now. I'm going to invite him in so we could get on to this topic. Here he is. All right, so let's get Andre in here. Yes, yeah. So we want to talk about this hot topic because we know that toxic relationships, I'm not sure, not everyone know about toxic relationships, but toxic relationships could really affect someone's life very much so. And some of us could relate to it. It could be a personally that you went through it, or you know someone that was involved. Hi, we already have some followers here coming on in. Yes, we invite you to also
Exactly.
we also invite you guys to jump on in and share a comment, or feel free to request to join in. So hi there, Andre, welcome back.
Indeed. Welcome back, Turning Point. It's indeed a pleasure to be back
Yes,
for such a long while, And
yes, yes.
we are here to get back on track with these hot topics.
Yes, I know. Sometimes, we are so busy with our business and other things. So, like I was saying before, and our hot topic today is that we're going to be discussing about toxic relationships. And I'm sure that you have some great points that you're going to share about toxic relationships. And that doesn't mean that toxic relationships mean we're talking about an intimate relationship. It could be professionally wise. It could be in the workplace. It could be amongst friends, a friend. It could be other type of relationships, family members. So we know hot topic. This hot topic is something that could be a great inspiration to other people out there who don't know of certain signs to look for in toxic relationships. So we are going to hit it on the nail right now. Let's get to it. So Andre, I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is one of the basics. Do you think that that toxic relationships, do you think that they can affect a person's life? Like
Well,
overall, like the entire lifestyle?
well, of course, Turning Point, I do think it really has an effect or an impact on a person's life. And I'll share quite a few effects that it could cause on one's life. And the first one is that it will have an impact on your psychological, physical, and mental. It also cause a lot of stress. It can also cause hormonal changes in our bodies, emotional distress, negative impacts our health, on our health immediately.
Yes, you said some great points there that uh, toxic
Also,
does
also,
affect persons and health wise.
right. Also, it makes you more become like a pessimistic. Say it's become more pessimistic. Yeah. So even if,
Could you break that down a little bit? Like, what do you mean? Just for those who don't understand exactly, could you break that down a little bit?
like for instance, each of us have different views, and our views of the world and outlook on life changes after being in a toxic relationship. So in that way, you become like a pessimist as regards to your views on a lot of things in life. And also another point, it also breeds negativity. So in a toxic
Yes.
relationship, right. So in a toxic relationship, it's really hard to be happy when you're in a toxic relationship. It also breeds emotionally exhaust. So you can become emotionally exhausted while you're in a toxic relationship. So it can also drain you, and that is where the draining comes in. When you're emotionally exhausted to a point, it actually drain you, you know, way down, and that is really not good because then you will lose energy in a lot of things, and just to try to make that a person more happy instead of you.
Yes, you hit it on the nail. Oh my gosh. That's why I love to see when the men could actually speak the truth, not just the woman. So, it's great that you are one of those men that try to keep it real and try to educate the other brothers out there as well, not just women, for them to understand that toxic relationship is something that could really affect their lives. And, it's good to see an African American man who are helping to make a difference in the community like yourself, who, God, you're allowing God to use you, so we're making this video seriously to help someone out there so they don't have their lifestyle in broken pieces over and over and over and over again. Because toxic relationships, we see they could really be damaging to a person's character as well.
Exactly,
It could be
turning point.
damaging.
And you know what too? It also destroys one's self-esteem, right?
Yes,
So our relationships with others and the way they treat us tells us a little about ourselves. So, and it's one of the
yes,
most important foundation of a person's self-image. So it can be very toxic and help us and decrease our self-worth and self-esteem about ourselves, how we think about ourselves or perceive about ourselves.
exactly. And that is very important because we we could see it. A person could be aging and they're getting older and older, but yet they're still doing the same thing when it comes to toxic relationships. They have toxic friends, right? They're just constantly in toxic relationships with the opposite sex or whosoever they choose on dating. But they're constantly in the same pattern, and they have people would say like your mood change. We all have moods that change, but they would say that you change as a person. You never used to be
Exactly.
like this. What is it like, you're because a lot of people also, when you're in an intimate relationship with someone, and I could just speak from personal experience, some of it, that when you are in an intimate relationship, you're not only, with yourself anymore. Obviously, you're with somebody else, so you're taking on their character as well. And if this person is a toxic person and has a toxic mindset, in regards to certain words that they say. They believe in certain things that the type of friends that they have or family members that they have, they would have you falling into their same type of circle, and you're into this people pleasing thing, trying to please them because you feel that they love you and you love them, and you could
Exactly.
fall for each other in this toxic pattern, knowing that really this relationship was toxic from the get-go. You guys are not meant to be together in the first place. It was just a spur of a moment type of hookup, and it wasn't really that you were meant to be with each other. And then sometimes what comes out of that toxic relationship is a child. Sometimes people end up having children out of these toxic relationships, and the pattern continues.
Exactly. You know, turning point. I have a final point in that question is that it also distorts our idea of a healthy relationship. Let me repeat that. It's
Yes.
also right. It distorts our idea of a healthy relationship. So one of the worst ways a toxic relationship can hurt you is by making you believe that you deserve it.
Wow. That's deep.
Right.
That is really deep. And toxic relationships, that I realized, it happens in the workplace as well. Certain type of jobs, it could happen, toxic relationship, and it's very hard sometimes to deal with those type of people though. But it could happen to students that you're in school, you're dealing with toxic people. That's in general. but it could happen to the most strongest people. It doesn't matter how strong you are, a toxic relationship could happen to the strongest person. And it doesn't matter your character, your title, it doesn't matter your career title, right?
Right? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter your career title, so it's just it's just something that could happen. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. Do you think that there are specific ways that we have to use in order to, or techniques in order to handle toxic relationships?
Right? That's a beautiful question, you know, and I believe that of course there are a lot of techniques that we can use to handle such um relationship, whether it be emotional relationship or at work or whatever. You must first of all you must accept that you are in a different situation or relationship. So you have to accept it first within yourself that you are in a certain situation or relationship. Second, you must not blame yourself for your partner's emotion because you're not the cause of it. So we must not blame ourselves for our partner's emotion or reaction, whether it be negative or bad or you know. So what partners may be doing to you, you must not blame yourself for it because they are the fault of it. And then third, you must tell the truth at all times
Now
because
that's a tricky one.
right because when you tell the truth at all times, because when you lie, you become
Mhm.
like complicit in the creation and maintenance of their reality. Right. So when you lie, it's like you're admitting what the person says that he's always true. So and that
That's true.
this
Oh,
can
okay. I
right
see what you mean.
right
Yes.
and this
Now
can be
that
very right and this can be very poisonous to the person
yes,
who
that's
is
very true.
it's affecting most of all. And then I would say fourth, if you're angry or afraid, must bring your attention to your breath and do not speak or write to the person until you feel calm. So as I spoke before in previous chats or previous discussions that we must think before we speak. So this would come in that category where you, if you're angry or afraid, do not do not speak things that you will regret afterwards. Even though you're not at fault, but it's always good to be calm in this situation.
Wow, that's deep. That's right.
Right. And finally, you must have mercy. You know, this may be really hard to imagine, especially if you're in a relationship that's very toxic to you. How the
Right.
hell, how in the hell will you want to have mercy on that person? You know, but yes, mercy is a very powerful word, and we would do this by offering from a form of gift from our hearts. So you can imagine you offer a gift from your heart, from the bottom of your heart, in a sense, to the person.
Yes. That's deep, you know. You made some great points about how to handle. And most of those points that you made, it seems they're leaning more to the intimate side of the intimate relationship. Because you know, I know that you have to handle it differently when it comes to a person on the job. If it's a person on the job or a person that you're dealing with, say, what about, do you think that in churches there are toxic people?
But of course, I believe, and that's a good point too, because toxic persons are in every institution. In every institution, you can find persons who are negative or very toxic to your personal um, growth or mindset or yeah, I would say mindset. Yeah, so whatever that may affect your mindset or affect your way of thinking or way of life, it is toxic. And you can find that in all institutions, whatever church, um, a non-church organization or whatever, maybe work at your workplace, your own business, or whatever, wherever it may be.
Right. And that's to say, and if you are a spiritual person, you do have a church home. Not because we have to remember that the church is a hospital full of sick people. And we all need some type of healing some way, somehow, right? So that is a great place to go if those of you who do have a church home. I know that I have found a lot of healing in my church family and talking to God. and having ways of speaking with other people, prayer groups, and different meditations that can help a person to be able to deal with toxic relationships um, in all the departments. So whether
Exactly.
it's intimately, friendship, workplace, you name it, it's there.
Just here, we got quite a lot of persons joining. Let's
Yeah,
see
we
here.
do. Oh yes, so we have quite a few people here. You want to call them out, Andre?
Oh, Colin
Shout
Shamar.
outs.
You have the real Glenn Boy. You have HPFD Piet, Chanticleer. I think she was one of my former classmates in high school.
All
And yeah,
right. Oh,
Legend
legend.
Quotes
Oh, legend.
2021.
All right.
That's that's truly amazing. You guys can
Yes.
also give your inputs as regards to our topic. And our topic is turning points. You can repeat it.
Yes, our topic is how toxic relationships can affect your life. Can it affect someone's life? So, also, I wanted to add, Andre, to what you were saying about toxic relationships and how to handle it. One of the things that I've realized when it comes to the intimate part of relationship, it's so important for a lot of people when you're involved in toxic relationships. It's very tricky to get out. It's very hard sometimes to get out of these relationships because it's like a tag of war. Um, Fighting to hold on to something, right? That is not fighting to hold on to you. Will ruling you. It literally will ruling your life. If you're fighting to hold on to this person, that clearly is not fighting to hold on to you and willing to do the work to make things work, especially with God's help. It will damage your whole life. And there's a different way of fighting. I'm not talking about physical punch you in the face or I'm talking about, and they will use sometimes some of these toxic relationships I've seen out there where they will try to make another person make you jealous, or they will try to make you overwork, or they will try to make you and a family member don't get along, or try to turn you against somebody in your family that really sees through their character, but they're trying to protect you from dating this person because they know that this person doesn't mean you any well. It happens, and it's a cycle that could mess with your mind.
Exactly, turning points. All of these situations and problems, especially in relationships, are in any field of that you're involved in. It's all about the mind. It's about the mentality. So how we
Yes.
treat people, it will affect them in a certain way. Some persons may not really have an effect because of how they think or perceive of themselves. So someone say a negative thing to them, they don't really care because they know that what they said isn't true. So based on their own perceptions of themselves, they won't admit or they won't succumb to what the persons say to them and keep it in their hearts, and then they will have a lot of stress inside because they won't talk it out or anything. So it will build up a lot of anxiety, stress, and depression, and and maybe they even become schizophrenic and those things. So that's how some of these diseases come about because of extreme stress and
Oh
depression.
yeah, and I could relate to it. In our families and different families, a lot of people won't admit it that they have issues when it comes to these relations. That's why intimate relationships, it could change your character. It could literally affect your life. And some people, they actually, there's toxic people love to destroy people. That's their goal. They walk along with the devil and they know that, hey, this is what my mission is. I want to destroy, and some people, they really enjoy being hurtful to other people. They enjoy destroying other people. But we have to realize these things, and it's so good that when God takes you out of darkness and show you the light, so you could see through these type of characters and these type of patterns and these behaviors. You don't have to let it. affect your life, because these people that struggling with their personal problem when it comes to toxic behaviors, they're struggling with how to handle their words. They're struggling with how to handle their moods, like constantly. They don't know how to respond to people. Like you could tell, like I have an ex, and when I speak with him, not personally calling any names, but I have an ex, and when he speaks, sometimes I'd be like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Like I'm a classy girl. I'm from this total different background, and I'm like, what is this the ghetto? Like, you know, what was I thinking back then? Like this is not. So you'll find how their words of communication is very toxic, because that's how they were taught. Maybe that's how they heard their fathers and their relationships around they saw their mother and their father, or the people they hang with, the type of music you listen. Everything shapes your character.